of self. Everybody wants to have that. And that's what we may call good life. But then it's not easy. Look at these statistics. Last year in June, this was June last year, 2021, Google, in the Google Analytics, there were 1.5 billion online searches for people seeking and going to the Google saying, how to find my life purpose. Very excited to think some of us could be here, could be among the people who have fed these analytics in the Google Analytics. So all of us are looking for, and for the first time, especially because of the COVID, people have been shaken, our comfort was shaken. And people are starting to look, okay, I have a good title, I'm a CEO, I'm a director, I'm a HR manager, I'm a finance manager, or a director, I'm a CFO. Those are just titles. But you've been shaken to a reality. Where do I find this meaning? This tells you that already right now, there's a certain reset globally for people to start discovering and kind of trying to look for their life meaning. And this is what is happening currently. And I can sample even amongst these 150 people that are in this webinar. I'm so certain this is something that we all are struggling with, or we're in the journey discovering ourselves. Harvard, which I know we always like quoting, though I like quoting local statistics. I'm hoping you're able to build some local statistics here. What are they saying now? The new CEO or the new executive role in the boardroom, what they are saying in 2022 amongst the things that will shape the workplace, they say like there's a combination of a role that is coming up because also organizations have discovered they need to anchor themselves on purpose. Initially, we used to have profit-oriented organizations. So you're busy looking for money and profit. But you've discovered profit is never sustainable. To sustain an organization, you need to anchor it in the why that organization exists. So it's happening both at an individual level, but also happening at a corporate level. I sit in so many corporate boardrooms and in so many transformation consultants, especially in strategy, both locally and most in the region within Africa. And I can assure you this is a conversation that is a very hot cake in the market. So we are now starting to look, I think we need to hire another person we call Chief Purpose Officer. Initially, we used to hire people we call Chief Happiness Officer. Now we've discovered happiness needs to be defined. So the current new marginal is Chief Purpose Officer. So what is this heading to? Maybe we'll talk about that later. Now, I talked about redemptive purpose. How do we define this? This is purely the reason for life, the why of your life that saves you from drifting from the original design. And here you allow me to position something that we are a product of a design. We did not just happen. It doesn't matter who created you, that's okay. But we all can agree we are a product of a design. And I'll be talking about the concept of design along the way because that's what helps us understand purpose better. Because purpose, to answer what Grace was alluding to, does it change? Now, the answer to that is who gives you purpose? Purpose is not usually a personal declaration. The way you can go and self-acclaim and say, from today moving forward, maybe the cup says, the role of the purpose of this cup is to start digging. It cannot do that because the designer most likely had already kind of put in some design for a function. And that's what makes it different now from things like passion, because passion mostly is internally generated as an individual motivation. But purpose is mostly something you discover, not giving yourself. You don't create your own purpose, not living. It's something that you discover why you live, why you exist. So, and that generally simplifies your life. That's how I can describe what purpose means. It is redemptive because it avoids you to make drifts or kind of mistakes in life. And when you kind of try to drift from that purpose, you'll always find a certain restlessness that draws you back to that blueprint of your life. So we have universal purpose generally, where we can say the whole universe is purpose-led. I mean, if you look at the galaxy, the way the gravity sustains everything, there's a certain behind the scene, a purpose even for the planet and the universe. There's no generational kind of purpose. The 21st generation has a purpose because we have to make sure at least we are living a planet that our generations in the future can come and find it habitable. And that's why we have to talk about climatic change because we have a purpose to sustain the universe as a habitable place. But then there's an individual purpose. And finally, it's something we call organizational purpose. So for this session, I'm going just to talk about the individual purpose. In other forums, I can talk about those other different dimensions of purpose. So let me highlight quickly about the mystery of design, which will help us understand purpose much more better. Now, I'll start by saying that, and I hope I'm still audible. I need to keep checking. Grace, make sure that at least I don't get lost. All right, thank you. I can see you're not. Now, let me talk about, thank you. Let me talk about the mystery of design. Now, I'll pose a question. Do you know that flowers were not meant for beauty? Flowers. I know we love flowers. Valentine and many other times that we are celebrating times and moments, we love sharing flowers. But can I surprise you? Flowers were not meant for beauty, and we'll talk about that in a brief. Now, if you see these beautiful flowers there, you can have the yellow flowers, we have the purple flowers, you have blue flowers, and there are all those violet flowers and all that. Not to surprise you that flowers were not meant for beauty, but by themselves, they have beauty. Flowers are an ecosystem through which millions of microbiomes, especially for those who love biology and the species. Flowers, there are some insects which only see one color. So if you study insects, you'll hear there are some insects that only see color yellow. There are some insects that only see color purple. That means if you find a blue flower, there are some insects that cannot survive there. So a flower from today, I want you to see it differently. A flower by itself is a world, just like you have the universe here. It's a world for microorganisms that can only get habitation and coexist within that environment. They cannot exist anywhere. And that means as much as flowers have beauty, that's what we see, there is something beyond the beauty. Now, I want to give a concept around ourselves. Sometimes we label our purpose for things that we achieve, the work that we do, titles we earn, the professorship and the doctorate and all those things that we do. All those mostly are beauty. They are meant to have a certain purpose that actually should be lifetime. That is never changing. Because lifetime, purpose is usually a lifetime commitment. There's no retirement. You can retire from a job. You can retire from a title. If you are a governor, you can retire. If you are a president, you can retire. But you'll never retire from purpose. You can change positions where maybe you are now interacting with the purpose in a different context. But you only get to live purpose once you're out of this world. So have you ever asked yourself why you have foresight? And from today, I want you to consider yourself a predatory species. The reason why you have foresight is because you are predator, and therefore you have a dominion aspect. Predators usually have eyes in front. Plays usually have eyes on the side. And that's why you have animals like cows and all that. They all have eyes on the side, not in front. But have you ever wondered about that mystery of design? You've been wired and fabricated for a specific habitation here on Earth. And finally, of course, you have a grip. We know we have a thumb and you have the other fingers. And I know, of course, the people who are able differently. But you know that has a mystery in terms of just having the precision for the grip. And it's a human possession in terms of design. There's no way all this can happen as a coincidence. That means there's something that probably we have not tapped that we need to discover on ourselves. And the moment you start discovering that, you realize that you activate all other potentials in life. Your gifting, your talent, your connections, your social capital, all those things get aligned the moment you align yourself to purpose. So I'll say you cannot understand purpose before understanding the power of design, the mystery in design. And this helps you, even as you go through this process, kind of have a paradigm shift that from today you are a product of design. These don't just happen that you have eyes in front. These don't just happen that flowers are yellow or blue. There is a purpose behind each one of them. And that tells us then, as human beings, we are the most intelligent being in the created order. There must be a purpose even for our very existence. So why is purpose beneficial? First of all, yes, I've seen these are things that I have picked myself in life for the last 10 years that I have been engaging in this purpose conversation. One researcher has proven that, of course, people who are purpose-led, they improve their mental health situation. They have more better mental and physical health. Why? Because they can attach value, they can find meaning in whatever they do. They are not looking for validation. They're not looking for a promotion. Purpose people don't look for any promotion. In fact, they don't look for any external validation because they are content with what they have conviction on what they are here on earth to, and therefore they believe it. They have no much concerns about, what is not happening around their life and what is happening. Number two is, of course, simplification. I think I already talked about that. You can introduce yourself. I have one desire in life, that one day people will never share CVs. As a HR practitioner, I've done a lot of coaching in career, employability, leadership, promotions, and all that. And currently, my focus has always been that can we reach a place where, when I send you my purpose statement, decide whether I am fit for job or not. Simple. Without attaching any of my degree, without attaching any of my qualifications or my titles of my work experience. It's a paradigm shift, but I know we are simply heading there. Of course, it will also make you happier and fulfilled in life. People who discover their life purpose, they kind of tend to live more happier life because, of course, there's a singularity of meaning. Everything gets into a harmony, just in an orchestra, like in a good music that Grace was praying for last year. Everything, every chord fall into place when you discover your purpose. Then, of course, there is improved engagement. Now, for those who are in HR here, the only solution for employee engagement, and I know we all have struggled with this, we always have to start maybe trying to invest in employee experience, trying to revamp our economics and the working environment, revamp the benefits, yet still we find productivity is going down. The only motivation for performance and employee engagement is purely on purpose. Because when I discover my purpose, the next thing, I don't need a boss. I don't need a supervisor. I don't need a manager. I'll have discretional effort and motivation to go and pursue that purpose, because that is what I have to pay as a debt. It's like the way you borrow somewhere. I have to pay that purpose. So people who are purpose-led, they consider an opportunity to work as an opportunity to deliver, to dispense, not to get back. Purpose is not about getting, it's actually about giving. So they always look for opportunity to be able to expedite themselves and impact in the space that they interact with. It also helps you leave legacy. I'll talk about that in the next one or two slides. Then it's also help impact others. And we can all look at the people who have been living their life in purpose. We have Akina Nelson Mandela, we have Akina Wangari Maathai professor here, Nobel Prize winners. But I want you to pick one thing about them. And this is going to change your life. Purpose is about becoming, not doing. It's who you become. Now, Nelson Mandela did not bring liberation in South Africa. He became the liberation. And I hope you get this right. Wangari Maathai did not bring green revolution. He became the tree. For those who are believers, Jesus Christ didn't bring salvation. He became the salvation. In fact, he says, I am the way. I hope you get that narrative. It is the game changer for purpose discovery. It is not about what we do, because that has shaped us for many years. It is mostly who are becoming, because you are feeling a need, a gap in the market that only you can do that. So it's about becoming, not the doing. So you're able to impact others because of that, and you're able to inspire many people because of just that. It helps you connect better because now you treat other people as partners. You don't treat them as people to give you. They don't know you anything. You don't know me anything. I consider you as a partner, but within myself, I have my niche. I know what exactly I'm doing, and that gives me more fulfillment that even when I'm related, we don't drift in relationship because of some personal and maybe selfish issues, and mostly we ruin our relationship. Resilience also, in terms of our diversity, you have the stay power. And in fact, purpose galvanizes you. It coats you. It's your assurance. It's kind of coat you because it is already provided for. And the way we've been wired, the moment that you align yourself with your purpose, you'll find that there are things that could have been maybe cost you to give up, but you have all the reasons to bounce back and start again. Finally, it helps you fully deploy yourself. Now, as somebody who had worked for 13 years in the corporate world, I can assure you, my employer was only using maybe 10% of my potential, just because I had to fulfill a JD. I have performance appraisals to do. But it's only when I deployed myself, and I did it when I was still employed. So I'm not telling anybody to go and resign, no. But even where you are, I developed my first leadership program in 2010. It's called Jet Leader. 2010. Who did I use? I used my employer at that time, it was a bank, as my guinea pig. I picked all the managers because I was their HRBP, And I signed them up for that. They thought I'm quoting concepts from Harvard and all that. They didn't know actually it was my program. And I took them through in 2010. And actually started certifying my program for 2010. So I used my employer as a sponsor to stage and actually be able to expedite myself. So I didn't have to resign. I had to resign later, maybe 2015 is when I resigned. But through those years, I was actually using the opportunity in the employment still, without resigning, to actually expedite myself. So you get more deployed beyond just the confines of your job description. Now, this I cannot add without giving you some paradigm shifts before I open up for the Q&A. The three things that usually bother us and that hinder us from discovering our purpose most is because of these paradigms. I call it tripartite. There is the push for having, like titles, acquiring and all that, buying things and all that. There's the push for doing, busy doing things, but there's a neglected part for being. Now, do you know why you are called human being? Why were you not called human doing? Why were you not called human having? Nothing of that. We were called human being. The journey of life is who you are becoming. And the moment you discover that, everything else changes. I do this in my coaching sessions, which takes a bit of time. Therefore, I'm just trying to compress this in just a small session. This takes usually 5 weeks. That is just to be able to go through the whole journey. And we go and break down all these in small pieces. So the hard dimension of life is when you focus on who are you becoming. Wangari Maathai was becoming the tree, for lack of a better analogy. Nelson Mandela was becoming the liberation. So it's kind of a process of decay to become. You're being consummated to the purpose, because that is the gap you're filling in. And that's the missing link for the universe that you have to kind of being able to give that. Now, I don't usually summarize this with the Ikigai. I won't. I know most of us have already done this before. Usually the Ikigai, or just, yes, please.
Somebody is requesting if you can go back to the previous slide.
Is it the one for
the previous one?
The part for benefits.
Let's go ahead. That one.
If you can specify which one, then I can be able to go back. George Namai, maybe you could specify on the chat which specific slide.
Or you can just continue and then we'll pick up a question from him.
Yeah, we can pick that in the Q&A.
Oh, he says that, yes, that one. Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, fine. I don't know if there's a question or maybe just park the question. Maybe you wanted to take a screenshot, that's okay. But maybe you can reserve the question towards the end. Good. So I say this is usually our limitation in life. And forgive me if I mention this. One of the generational purpose we have in the 21st century, and I want you to watch this closely, in the social media, in the global trends, in the knowledge space, there's a certainly defining of knowledge and truth we have always upheld for many years. Because people have come to discover some of those knowledge and truth are actually our limitation. And you forgive me and mention one of them. And the one I will mention as a student of management is actually the Maslow hierarchy of needs. You know what it taught us? And these are paradigm shifts. I know you're going to struggle with this, and I will make you uncomfortable. That is actually one of the greatest limitations for us. Why? Because you are meant and you are told that your first thing to do is survival. That is the basic need. And therefore, even when you're looking for a job, when you're looking for an opportunity to do business, is to be able to survive fast. And that's a problem. I am always a believer, and I have seen this and I've tested this, and I have seen global trend in this space, where the moment you start talking about purpose conversation, you start rewriting some of those paradigms that we ever lived on. Let me tell you, if you align on purpose as the first thing, if the purpose for this mobile phone was to make an SMS, the moment it aligns itself to send an SMS, that is it. All other things will align. The economic success, the financial freedom, the social, all everything else align. But you are taught on the other end because we were taught to go and work. We were taught to be employees. So we were taught those philosophical models in the beginning. And I know I have been a teacher for them for those many years in management, those back, until you start realizing we have actually to change the faculty of our knowledge for us to be able to think differently. So this is a huge paradigm shift. So I was talking about this Ikigai model. I won't focus on this. This is something that we can discuss for many time. And mostly we are kind of disrupted because of 4 components. There's a mission, that is what the world needs. The world needs encouragement. You say, I want to start doing encouragement. I want to start a counseling because the world needs it. There's what you love, what you call the passion. And that's a very selfish thing. I'm going to talk about it briefly because it's a bit of a very kind of deceptive approach, because passion mostly is a very personal, and it's mostly a motivation from within yourself. It comes from your heart. It is different from the purpose, but in the purpose, you'll always find a component of passion. Then there's the profession, what we went and studied and we are skilled and we are good at it. Then there's the vocation, which is actually what we can be paid for. Most of us have shaped life around these 4 components. I won't tell you that you can't start with any. Personally, I've started with most of them. In fact, I think I've gone through all of them. There was time I was anchored on mission. There was time I was anchored on passion. I've drifted all that before I got the singularity, which we call the Ikigai, the Japanese terminology. I know most of us have seen this many years back. So that Ikigai is actually the epicenter where everything else converges, like the gravity of everything. And that's where the purpose lies. So in the purpose, you'll be paid for. In the purpose, you'll find what the world needs, because there's a missing gap. In the purpose, you'll find there's a passion, there's a component. If you take your passion up to 100%, you'll find only maybe 20% of your passion is aligned to the purpose. But sometimes we get drifted away by these other things, because today I might be loving football, so I start playing football. Do you know what? Football, I might not love it. I used to be a fan of football. Currently, I really don't. It cannot make me sleep, late. Currently, I love other things. So if you anchor your life on passion, what happens? You keep on changing as passion changes, because it's coming from within, not outside. But purpose is something you're getting from external agent. And therefore, that's why it is a lifetime thing. It never changes. I think this is just a slide that trying to explain it. I won't go through this for those maybe who will be able to read through very fast. There's a difference between the passion and the purpose. And you can almost see the first one. Passion is self-authored. Purpose is given from elsewhere. This phone cannot declare itself its own purpose. The manufacturer, whether it's an iPhone or a Samsung, is the one who defines the purpose of this phone. It's self-centered. That's passion. To keep changing over time, so you keep shifting your goals. If you anchor yourself, no wonder people are excited to get a new job offer 3 years down the line. They are hating what they do. They're looking for something. And why? They followed the passion. So I always tell people, yes, passion is very important. You can turn your passion to anything, but make sure before you go to passion, use the purpose as the validating factor. So I won't go into all these. There are quite many. There are 11 differences between passion and purpose. And I know this is where mostly we get confused in our own life. I want to give you an example of a case in business that can take this point home. I met a guy who he has a boutique in town, Nairobi CBD. He has this boutique, very big one. And when I went there, I was introduced by a friend. He went and looked at me and told me, Gabriel, I don't have nothing to sell to you today. Then I asked him, why are you not selling to me anything? And he told me, it's because I don't sell clothes. And I asked, are you praying with my mind? You don't sell clothes, but I can see clothes in the hanging line, the clothing line. Then he looks at me and told me, Gabriel, I dress people. I don't sell clothes. I dress people. In short, he was telling me, my purpose for running this business is making people look good, dressing them, not selling. Selling is a transactional part, and everybody else is selling. But the dressing people, it's unique, and that actually was a differentiator for his business. I talked about purpose-led organization. That is a way of defining the purpose for that business. And he doesn't struggle, because he'll tell you, if the coat does not fit you even by a small hint of a centimeter or an inch, you don't go home with it. In fact, he tells you, if you go home and misuse and mishandle my suit, I never sold it to you. I gave you as a risk. If you come and you probably took that suit elsewhere, maybe it was mishandled, I'm not selling you another suit. Strong value proposition for the business. So the people who are passionate about selling things and all that, but if the purpose is not that clear, even the business is not resilient and it's not sustainable. I know my time is running short, but let me take you through paradigm shifts. So purpose is about becoming and not doing. Then purpose has no retirement till death. You're a product of design. Life is not meant for survival, as Maslow told us. And therefore, we were all wired to study for survival, so that we begin that hierarchy from there, now building up that long mentality. And no wonder most of us are still enslaved in that mentality. We are looking for promotion from the boss. That should not be the case. Purpose galvanizes your future because it has a lifetime aspect. Purpose living, you must be intentional. It's something you have to be deliberate. These don't happen. You have to really search for it. And then, of course, discovery means a mindset transformation. Already I've mentioned some few paradigm shifts, and therefore, for you even to go through this and even through the coaching sometimes we do, you have actually to be ready to transform your mindset. Then, of course, everything you need is inside you. The world allowed you, shaped everything you require to expedite your purpose. You don't need to import anything from China, from US, for you to be able to expedite your purpose. It's actually within yourself. You only need to go through the process. So there's a purpose map I always like sharing. If I had time, I could have taken you through this. I have drawn it for myself in another version, but I will not show that. Maybe in another conversation we'll do that. These are some of the things. How do you build purpose? You have to start with convictions. We only able to tell that you have strong purpose persuasion if you build conviction around it. And that shapes your belief. Then from there, of course, you define who do I impact? How do I impact? Those people we impact, how do they change? And then, of course, now from there, you can go to the execution. It's quite easy in terms of how do I expedite that purpose down the line. I know this is quite complex. Maybe I'll not talk about that for now. Now, pointers, because the next question you're going to ask me before Q&A is how do I discover my purpose? I'm going to give you high-level pointers, which you can go and reflect with. There are some internal pointers. Number one, unaiding convictions and persuasions that never end. This is like the way we used to put some concrete in a bottle, and then you throw the bottle. It will topple down, but it will always stand on its base. Those convictions that always haunt you. You go in a hotel, it haunts you. You go in a conference somewhere, it haunts you. You watch news, something legal. The only thing, we are not intentional to journal them. We don't write them down. And I want to give you an assignment from today. I want you to take a whole page, start journaling the conviction that start shaping in your life. You're going to see a pattern. Number two, the hoary discontent or hoary anger. You go in a hotel, you're served badly, and something arouses you. I think this could have been better. It is pointing you. It's a whisper. There is a gap that actually you are the solution. It may not be the direct one, but I say it's a pointer towards. It's directional. It points you towards something. What gives you an experience fulfillment? Journal in your life for the last 5 years. Are there things you have ever done? Maybe hosting this kind of a webinar and you get that fulfillment and all that. It's also a pointer towards some inclination around your purpose. Number four, which mostly it's where now we usually don't participate. Meditational realities. I'm a believer in meditation. There's a higher dimension of imagination, of meditation, that you can be able to exercise your mind. Your mind and brain are two different things. But there's a way you can exercise your mind to train your brain. And for those who may want to study, you can go study something called brain neuroplasticity. So there's a way you feed your mind and your brain, and the brain responds from your mind. And somehow you can create some meditational realities. And this is not yoga and illusions and all that, no. And especially for those who are believers, I would encourage you, because if you're able to anchor that, it helps you to tap some in a very undiluted environment. You know, we live in a world where it's full of noise. That calmness, and you're meditating and exercising even some mindfulness, you're able to get some realities and you journal them. What happens at the end of the day, you'll see a pattern start taking shape. Then, of course, I always tell people, do a bit of a spiritual endowment. There are gifts you have been given by God when He created you. Even if you don't believe in God, you have a created gifts that are within you that you naturally expedite without struggle. If you look at them, the gifts themselves are not the purpose, but the gifts are the fundraising on the sponsorship to implement your purpose. And I'll tell you, like for myself, I have three major gifts that are always there. Faith, the gift of wisdom, the gift of knowledge. Do I use it? Yes. How do I coach without knowledge? How do I coach without wisdom? How do I establish frameworks and design things without faith? So if the gift is working for me, because gifts are not directional. You can misuse gifts. I can use my gift to be a terrorist. You know, gifts are never directional. They are only given direction by the purpose. So you use it well. So people are gifted, but because of lack of purpose, they end up misusing the gift because gifts are not directional. So of course, there is also external part, which is mostly how you impact people. If you start journaling, people are coming to tell you, oh, thank you so much for impacting my life. Don't stop there. Don't just take the praise. Ask them, how did I impact you? What happened? What changed? You discover, maybe you make them see this bigger picture. You make them change their view, their decisions and all that. And that starts shaping a reality in what could be your purpose and how you impact people around you. Then, of course, affirmation, but be very cautious. Not every affirmation is objective. People may see what they want to see. Don't rely with the external validation. Always start with the internal, so that when somebody is affirming me, I'm only looking at, yeah, thank you for affirming. That means it already exists. You're only confirming it. And of course, finally, you always try to study whether there's a generational purpose around us. And I say right now, we have a new generational purpose for redefining knowledge, redefining truth that probably we have lived a lie for many years. And you've been fed with those lies. So try to tap also from the generational purpose, what could be your role in participating in that. One more slide, I think, and I probably close so that I can open up for the Q&A. Some barriers that are going to really hold you captive when you're going through this journey. Number one, your mindset, because you have been doctored in a way, and that is the hardest thing to change in a human being. How we believe, the belief system that we have already upheld for the last, especially for adults. Generalization of purpose. When I'm doing coaching, people come and tell me, my purpose is to encourage people. Then I ask them, everybody can encourage everybody. The people will tell you, my purpose is to listen to people. Everybody should listen, actually. So they are very generalized purpose, which then, if you lack the specific, then you end up being drifted because you'll be everywhere. So we stop doing generalization and you go specific to your niche area. Who are you called to impact and why and how do you impact them? Then, of course, lack of confidence and fear is also a critical thing. Failure to journal. We don't journal our timeline in life. Then, of course, procrastination, that's behavioral compliance, also a kind of a limitation to our purpose. External factors, your background. I've seen people coming to tell me, my purpose is to bring my family out of poverty. Now, I don't think you are born to bring your family out of poverty, but by just pursuing your purpose, you'll actually also be able to redeem your family from poverty. So I don't mean that the background does not speak to your purpose. It may, but you need to validate it further. Don't just settle with the background because maybe you grew out in an abused family. Then you say, my purpose is to work with people who are in abused environment. Not necessarily, but it may be a pointer for you. Of course, association that you relate with, if they are not purpose-led, of course, you are likely also to fall prey with that. So I think my final part, I think I will not proceed with the rest of it, is just to add here. The epitome of purpose-led transformation is being a purpose-led leader. And I believe all of us have used this model. Now, we always start by being intellectual stimulants, where we stimulate knowledge, like in the way somebody will speak to you, and if you have spoken sense, you should become leaders by stimulating, intellectually. Then, of course, later we show empathy and we become people-driven. That's the second level. Then the third level of our leadership is, of course, where we inspire people for a change and for a revolution. That's what politicians sometimes will do. But then the idealized aspect is where we are purpose-led. We are role model, we walk the talk. So you can't talk about purpose-led if yourself also you're struggling with the same. So I encourage all of us to be able to anchor ourselves into that idealized influence, where, of course, you're purpose-led as a leader and you influence others from the point of having mastered your purpose. So I think that's general concepts around this. I hope I've attempted to address some of these things maybe in a high level. It will require a whole 5 weeks coaching to unpack most of the things I've mentioned that are in a hurry, but I hope at least this will give you a certain sense of direction. Direction is better than speed, but I think later we can pick momentum to unpack each of these maybe in a more in-depth way. So I want to hand over to Grace to guide us in the Q&A session.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I feel like I'm purpose-led already.
Actually, I think you defined it in the beginning.
Okay. Okay, I am just trying to look. Somebody already is looking for your contact. Rose Odundo wants your contact. And Millicent, kindly, where do we find this recording on YouTube? Yes, it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel by latest Friday, so you can keep tabs, but we normally share the link as we send the thank you, which sometimes may be late. But if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, it will alert you when we upload either on Thursday evening or by Friday for sure. And there's somebody who had asked a question. I have seen Eunice has posted. I know Kevin and Jacinta will be posting the YouTube channel. Somebody is asking for notes. Okay. I'm trying to find questions, but before we get there, let me just go to the Q&A and ask, do you do personal coaching towards helping one achieve their purpose, and how much do you charge? I think Joy Karanja, you can have that conversation with Gabriel. I can share with you his contact details. And then, is that okay, Gabriel?
Yes, go ahead. If also okay, I can still also project it, just in case people may want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabriel will be sharing his contact so that you can have a conversation with him, so that it's not really generalized. He has forbidden us from being too general on some of these matters. And then, so I'm a university, Eunice says, I am a university student, I'm a charity worker. I'm a founder of Sakina Foundation, which aims at helping and lifting the needy in the society. Could this be my purpose?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Eunice. I think first of all is to commend you to have started such a daring move when you're still in campus. I think that's quite amazing. You're challenging some of us and wondered whether we could have done this when we were at your age. I would say it can be. I cannot disqualify that that's not your purpose. It can be your purpose, but of course you need to go through some of the things that I say just to validate that. It's good to validate that. And one of the validating actually doing it. Sometimes you have actually to go into the mud area and start experimenting things to affirm whether really this is the purpose. My mother had to go in the street sometimes, is beaten up, by police and all those things. It's actually doing that you actually affirm. Even when you face challenges, you discover that actually you want even to do it more, despite even when you're going to get those challenges. So I would say, yes, this could be your purpose. But of course, there are other things that we try to validate in terms of testing the purpose, so that at least, I remember I said the drifting areas, like the things to do with the passion. And I'll give you a good example to answer Eunice, which might apply to many of us. I have a friend who actually started doing some ministry. He could host people in his house, and he loved doing it. Host people in his house, and he will have fellowship, he'll organize some retreats, go to Arboretum, go to some hikes and all that. And by the third year, I remember some conversation, he came and told me, Gabriel, you know what? I've discovered why I do what I do. It is because there is a void in me. Apparently, but of course, in all the humility, the person was an orphan. So what had happened is this person was feeling lonely. So he was taking care of people, but indirectly, unconsciously, in a bright spot way, he was actually quenching his void. So he wanted people around him. So the reason why he could hold people in his house is because he was feeling lonely. He was feeling like he's alienated, and therefore he formed like a movement, like a ministry to take care of people. But 3 years down the line, he could not sustain that. Why? It was not actually his purpose. He was trying to respond in his own initial condition. I can feel one day I'm lonely and therefore start encouraging people because I want to interact. Because in fact, that time, I am the one who is benefiting. So I just want to say, there are ways in which we validate whether this is the true purpose, the motivation of why you're doing it, how do these people transform, and all those. And that can help you be able to validate. The best way is actually to draw a purpose map, which maybe we can discuss in another conversation.
All right. And all those of you who call me their mentor, please tell me how I have impacted you. Just taking this a notch higher. And Maureen is saying, how does one align job descriptions to staff purpose?
Good. I think that's a very critical question. Now, first of all, before getting to the job description, you need first of all to focus on the individual employee. I believe this could be a HR who is talking about this. So if you focus on the employee, first of all, if you focus on the employee, you'll be able to pick that maybe there's a certain bias they have, because purpose is your bias. Like for me, my bias is just transforming people's mindset. It's my bias. Naturally, that's my bias. So if you pick that, then what you try to do is to look for opportunities in the work they do. Don't change the job description. You can look for opportunities and create that environment. I've seen people being given added responsibility, for example, in an organization where they start doing DJ. In fact, I know of an engineer who was an electrical engineer in the company he was working for. Besides being the engineer, which is technical, he was actually doing some kind of DJ work on the side. So when they had company function, instead of hiring an external DJ, because they discovered this guy has a bit of purpose around the DJ, but later it was not DJ actually, in terms of when we went through the process. But he had that kind of an inclination to just entertain people and all that. He went actually into entertainment. The company started allowing him to practice that within the organization. Something beyond the JD. So you don't have necessarily to change the JD. It can mean because maybe that's the work structure, but try to broaden and give the employee an opportunity. Don't modify the JD. Just look for an opportunity where this employee will feel more fulfillment. They could start mentoring others. They could start speaking in internal organizational forums. They could start even leading teams that are beyond their department somewhere else. That's how you start gauging and give them a chance to experiment themselves while still appreciate they can make mistakes generally. So I would say don't stop the JD the way it is, that's okay, but broaden the employee experience to accommodate other components they show interest in still within the organization.
All right. I think you have tried to summarize that in a nutshell. There's another question. Kindly share on career versus purpose.
All right. Now, I think there are three tripartites I shared in my presentation. And those tripartites are talking about the doing, the having, and the being. Now, the challenge with most of our career and jobs are different from work. I think we can talk about this in a different and a very lengthy conversation. There's difference between work and job and career. Work is what you're told to do because you're good at it and maybe you are qualified for it. That's the job. And that mostly we have formed our career based on the job. If you ask me about career, remember when I introduced myself, I said, if I was to introduce myself, I would say I'm a strategy expert in terms of strategic execution. I am a data scientist. I'm a human capital transformation. I'm a coach. I introduce you like 10 things. And that's a complication of life. So if you ask me for career, I will describe my career from those things that I do because it's about doing. But purpose is the becoming. For me to transform people's mind, it has to work for me first. I have to become that transformation first for me to be able to like anchor it for others. So it's a journey of becoming. That's the difference between the career and purpose. So you can use your career to discover purpose. That's okay, because as you work, sometimes you get to validate. If you're working in a company, for example, you're meeting customers, you're managing employees, there are areas you'll find there's a way you impact those people. So you can use that as a feedback to mirror back and say, yeah, I think my purpose is this and this. So you can start from there. So you can use your career to be able to shape your purpose. However, the moment you discover your purpose, now from there, you start aligning your career, your business on that purpose. It will become the epicenter for everything. For me right now, if you call me in your organization to come and do consultants, whether it's strategy and all that, and the first question I always ask you, are you ready for transformation? If you are not ready, even if you're paying me all those money, I will say, I don't take that assignment. And I have said no to very lucrative deals in consultancy space. Why? My purpose is transformation. If I feel like you want to do an assignment just to tick a box, that is not my area. I will say no courteously, and I will not do that assignment. So that's how now you align later, even what you do, your business, your leadership into the purpose once you get the right convictions.
Okay. Somebody got confused. Joanne is saying, how do I really discover my purpose? I have listened to you and cannot get a clue. Joanne, you probably need to go and listen to the recording because he has shared quite a number of pointers, but maybe in summary, Gabriel, how do they discover their purpose? And I know exactly. Joanne is speaking for their neighbors and friends.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. And for all the electorates. Good. Okay. As I say, purpose is something you discover. Now, how do you discover your purpose? I gave you a few pointers, and I know this requires real coaching, personalized coaching to go through this. But the pointers I gave, number one, try to get a list of all your convictions. And the always question I ask people is, what are your convictions? Now, if you are to go into the science of conviction, science on conviction tells us that you are activated by what convicts you.
Ngoja, slow down, Gabriel. Yes. Gabriel, Ngoja. Probably you need to start by defining what is conviction.
That's okay. Our definition, convictions. Yes. Convictions are firmly held beliefs that set you in action. For example, maybe you go into let's say and you see this even in family meetings or in your church conversations or in the workplace, you'll find yourself compelled to act on something or respond to something. And how you respond, if you dig deeper, there's a certain sense of family-held belief or an opinion, for lack of a better word, sometimes you call it truth that is inside of you, that cause you to respond. If you look at Nelson Mandela, he believed that liberation was the light for Black Africans. And therefore, that conviction, and also for Wangari Maathai, there was a conviction around, if we cut these trees, there's no future for our generation. We are going to suicide ourselves. It's a family-held belief. The only thing, of course, with conviction is sometimes you may need to subject them to some other fundamental frame of truth. And for that, of course, as a believer myself, I always make sure at least the convictions are aligned with my faith. And that's now, of course, that's a different conversation. So the truth that you uphold and you firmly believe in mostly activates you. So you'll find somewhere maybe you are watching news and you're seeing these stories about petrol station, they're running out of oil, and something burns inside you. It's like a burning incense, burns inside you. You're like, wait a minute, I hate this corruption. And you actually put in it and it actually activates you. That even tomorrow you can start taking placards and go to the street and almost take an action. If you try to challenge those things that you have done in life, then don't look at the things you did. Look at what were the convictions that triggered me to that. Today I was speaking to a bishop and I got a very interesting account. And for the first time I knew Bildad Kagia. This was one of our frontrunners for independence in Kenya. The fighters in Mau Mau and those fighting for liberation. Now, today is when I learned that Bildad Kagia picked his convictions from a Uganda evolution. There was a certain revival that was happening, especially in the church, the Pentecostal. I never knew he had that conviction because nowhere in the history we've been told he has a faith convictions. But today I learned about that because somebody was telling me about the history of Bildad Kagia. And I got to learn that whatever activated him to go and fight and to the point of dying like Wangari Maathai is because there was strong convictions about the African liberation. And for him, it was either life or death. Either I do it or I die. And if you look for people who have changed and moved the world and shaken the world, they have lived with convictions. Apparently, I asked that question in my coaching session, give me your top 3 convictions. And it's always a struggle. So for that person who is asking, how do you start the journey? That's point number 1. I was trying to go deeper. I talked about the hoary discontent also. Things actually that gives you a hoary discontent. Journal them down, list them down. Number 3, things that give you unquenchable fulfillment. Out of all the things I look for the last 5 years, are there moments where you went home and felt like, God, you can take me now. I have done my bit. List them down. I'm not telling you that's your purpose. Note, it's a process. That's not your purpose. Journal them. Number 4, there are those things, of course, I talked about the external things in terms of that things. In fact, there's somebody who told me he used to always receive phone calls and he journaled phone calls for a year. Then he told me that one time he noted 85% of those phone calls were people asking for money. And he asked, it seems I have a solution for finances. Today, that guy runs a microfinance. And he anchored his purpose on financial solution. He journaled his life. I'm not saying that could always be the case. No, everybody has their own journey. And it's always good to personalize that journey. So even the environment, sometimes you might find you start attracting. In my life, I've always met people who completely are confused. They kind of meet people who are telling me, Gabriel, I have worked. Even today, I had a colleague actually was telling me, Gabriel, I've worked for 10 years. I'm feeling lost. For me, they are being attracted to me because I have some redemptive grace for them. I have a solution for them. A bee will always be centered around the flower. Why? There is that, what do you call this, that sweet bee extract. Exactly.
Nectar.
There is a nectar. Now, each one of you has a nectar that bees will always hang around. So if you try to discover that nectar, you'll find even people who are around you. If you're a person who, in fact, I also talked to another guy who told me, Gabriel, it's like I have a special grace around drunkard people, Alcoholic Anonymous. He was telling me, everywhere I go to Kisumu, I find myself drunkards surrounding me, asking me questions. And I don't know them. They are just there. And somehow I have grace and I connect with them so well. There are like 9 things you can use to discover your purpose. The challenge is we don't journal our life. What I want you to do, if you journal your life in all those components, you don't even have to do all of them. There could be only 2 or 3. You start seeing a pattern. And if you test and validate, and I'll give you my story. When I began, I had 3 purpose statements. One purpose statement was I make things, I help people see big picture mentality. You know, those people where you talk to, you come and talk to me as a kiosk mentality, I help you see the supermarket. People would even tell me, hey, Gabriel made me, my small idea look so big. And kind of almost started shaping that was my purpose. Another purpose was I was a person who could be the man of peace. I unite people. And everywhere I went, even visit, I will find myself starting circles. I have started so many circles where I never sit in the boat. I facilitated the starting of a circle, welfare group, investment clubs, and I helped them learn that apostolic bit. In a way, I also started looking at this could be also my purpose. So I was also lost. But later I started questioning. I started looking for those who started circles, investment clubs, and I was asking them, guys, how did I help you set up this? I know I came and talked to you and immediately started saving money. Now you have this big investment company. And that told me, Gabriel, actually, you changed our view. You helped transform our mindset. So that did not come up front. It came after a lot of interrogation and experimenting. So I will guarantee you that you are going to find like 5 things that you can do. And when you list down your potential, you get lost. Why? I listed down my potential. I discovered I can do 67 things. That's a huge, huge paradigm. Because if you study what you can do, I can sing, I can play guitar, I can coach, I can encourage, I can train, I can consult, I can do research. I found I have 67 things. If you follow the things you are capable of doing, you get lost. So I want to challenge you, don't focus so much on the doing, don't focus so much on those like the gifting. Sometimes they can mislead because they are not directional. So I think that's how I can summarize it. And I say these are something I unpacked even for 10 weeks, 3 good months. So I'm only just giving some nuggets that could help somebody to start that direction and start shaping up your reality of thinking and your mindset. When you think right, you believe right, then you can live right. So I feel like Grace had dropped off. Let me see whether there's another question I can answer. Eunice, thank you for us saying that you're beginning to align between passion and purpose. Thank you so much. I'm trying to pick whether there's any question that has been posted. I can't see any. I want to add up before I allow Grace to finish with something I didn't share, and I think I'm feeling indebted. If I don't share this, I will not sleep. I'm a believer, and therefore I'll quote this. Ephesians 2:10 says what? For we are God's masterpiece. Masterpiece is the product of design. Remember I talked about design. A masterpiece is a design. Like there you can shona kitenge. A masterpiece. We are God's masterpiece. He has created us in a new, in Christ. So we can do good things planned for us long time ago. That's a purpose. So that everybody has a predestined purpose that has been shaped by our Creator. You only need to discover it. But we are lost in the turmoils of, you know, we have to finance our living, you know, it's a roller coaster. We are in a roller coaster of work, from one job to another, from one business to another, but you have neglected the core essence of living. So that's what I can leave you with. I'll take 1 or 2 questions if there are still more as we wind up this conversation.
There's somebody who's asking whether you have a program for teens. Okay.
Yeah, I do speaking engagements. Of course, I try to balance my time. I may not have a lot of time with the teens part, but sometimes, yeah, I've been invited in many forums. I speak in universities, I speak in churches, I speak in corporates actually around this. So yes, I do this, of course, subject to time availability. What I love doing mostly is literally doing structured purpose coaching series. That is what I'm passionate about, and also helping organizations anchor their strategy and the human capital, the leadership transformation around purpose. That's why I spend more time in my calling.
Okay. A very insightful. Thank you, Gabriel. Indeed, you're an angel, Gabriel.
Thank you, Cicely.
Yeah, so Maybe you can also put in your contacts on the chat, Gabriel, just for those who were not able to do a screenshot. And then maybe we can also point out that this webinar is brought to you by Atara Solutions in partnership with Stallion Construction Company and what do we call it? And Balcon Housing. And somebody's asking your cost. Please get in touch with Gabriel to discuss the costs, because in Kenya, and it depends on the needs. Sometimes our needs are very different. So maybe that's a conversation you'd want to pick with Gabriel. So that he can support. Okay, thank you. Okay, so yeah, there's Gabriel's number, and okay, you have actually just shared it with us.
Okay, yeah,
host and panelists. Yeah, so if you're looking to catch up on this conversation, Joanne and Co, because I'm using Joanne as an example, Joanne and Co, you can get the upload on our YouTube channel. It will be uploaded by Friday. Yeah, by Friday, most likely on Thursday, but Friday. So, right, allow me to invite you, if you're a HR professional or a business owner who is wondering what's happening in the labor law areas. We are discussing a refresher on labor laws and recent court rulings on Friday from 9 a.m. Sorry. This is 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And this will be on Zoom. We are charging 2,000 shillings. Yes, you will get a certificate. Somebody was asking about that. And you will also earn a 1 CPD point for the HR professionals by IHRM. So there's 1 CPD point for you. You'll get a certificate. And we are discussing this from 9 to 12:30 p.m. on Zoom. And our till number is 917-4897. And we can always get in touch. There's a link that I'm sure the team is posting on the chat. If you want to register for this training, please register, and then we shall see you on Friday on Zoom, as well as we demystify labor laws and recent court rulings. And you can see the guys who are doing it for us are Daniel Omondi and Abisai Ambenge. If you have been in the labor relations industry, or you know the people, they used to work for FKE, they've all been labor commissioners in the Ministry of Labor. They have been updated, they are specialized in employee relations. So you will be in safe hands on Friday for the HR professionals and any business owners who want to just keep abreast on what's happening. So thank you so much, Gabriel. Allow me to also share something. Oh my God. So I promised to share the courses that are being offered on the LMS. These are self-paced short courses. You just log into the LMS. LMS is Learning Management System. You register, they'll give you credentials, and then you learn by yourself at self-paced. And then at the end of it all, once you're done, there's a questionnaire that you do, and then you get a certificate at the end of the day. There's a lot on this. There's sales and marketing courses, so many of those. There's workplace essentials, a lot of that. There's supervisor and managers. If you're being promoted just now to managers or to supervisor, there's a lot for you. Like you can see leadership and influence. Gabriel has talked about that. You also have a few on human resource for the HRs. You know, measuring results from training is there. Crisis management is there. This is for HRs. Train the trainer is also there. And then we have career development courses. There's assertive and self-confidence, negotiation, personal branding, among others. So I can share this with you at your request on my email, grace@Atara Solutions, and then you can be able to contact Pathway Solutions Services. And then we have Ames College. Ames College is there supporting you for your career development. And also, if you're just starting out your career, they have a lot in their business school. They are located at Lotus in the city center. Lotus House in the city center. For the HR professionals here, they have a CHRP, and they also have the option of studying online. So you can, again, if you want more details, you can get in touch with me, but I think I can also roll to the contact details for Ames, so that you can also get to register for the course that you'll be interested in. So Ames College of Business and Technology will be there to support your career needs. I'm trying to get to the, yeah, here they are. So they are on Lotus House, 4th floor along Haile Selassie Avenue in Nairobi. Their number is 0703 200 910 or 0721 532 015. So this is Ames College of Business and Technology. So, all right. And thank you very much for being here. As always, thank you. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you. And thank you for sticking with us. We were at about 200 people today, including the ones on Facebook Live. And we will have this recording uploaded on our YouTube channel. The team has shared. And if you're looking to join us on Friday for the session, please get in touch with us. And there's a form there that has been shared so that you can learn more about what's happening. So thank you so much, guys. Gabriel, I think we need to have another session, but please, guys, if you want to discover your purpose, get in touch with Gabriel. He is loaded. Yani, you walk with him a journey of about 5 weeks as you demystify, as you unpack all these things that you're wondering whether they're your purpose or not, you know? And so I think mine is, I don't like ignorance, Gabriel. So that's why I even do this.
Exactly.
My burning point is I don't like failing business. It hurts me that we start businesses and fail. So that's how even this program started. And that's how I do training, because I believe information is power and knowledge is power, but ignorance has no defense. So
I see the purpose in there, Grace. Great purpose there. Thank you so much. You got it right.
I did, right?
Yeah.
And
Thank you for, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting me. Yeah, sure. Thank you for hosting me, and really look forward to engaging with the team here. I know this was a very complex path, trying to unpack a lot of knowledge, but I think in a more relaxed environment, you can go to work with people and make them at least have impact in their life. And it's my pleasure just to be able to come back again and kind of progress with this. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you for that offer. And don't worry, we will capitalize on it.
Sure.
You will help us. We have had people who are helping us do okay. The what do we call it? I have forgotten. Like you to help us achieve our purpose. So thank you very much. Do you work with people to actualize their purpose? Is the question by Rose.
Yes. I think, Rose, maybe you missed the phrase where I talked about that. Yes, I do those, whether in corporate and also individuals, I do that. I always run a purpose coaching, a 5 weeks purpose coaching every even month. There's already an ongoing session right now, which now the next intake will be in June. So if you want to get the personalized one, then of course you have to time every even month. You'll be able to enroll to that program. But reach out to me, I'll be able to share with you more details. I also work with organizations to align their strategy. Now that's a bit more complex, aligning their strategic plan to purpose and modeling what you call purpose-led culture, purpose-led leadership. Those are corporate aspects, which I also handle, mostly especially when engaging organizations. And then we also have a Purpose Leadership Summit, which maybe I'll let Grace to announce it next edition. We want to be partners. So we have a Purpose Leadership Summit, first ever in Africa. So I'll be sharing that details maybe in another engagement.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Millicent, next time share more about labor law, since I will be working on Friday and I would like more information when time allows. If you pay for it, it's 2,000 shillings. We can share with you the recording. You register, pay for it. We'll share with you the recording and you can follow it through that. Unfortunately, that one, we do not do it for free. So as well, because we are also running a business. Right. So thank you. We will be having a session next week. I am reliably informed that we are reading the national budget on 7th. So that means that we might have to undo the program for this month, because we might be hosting somebody to unpack for us analysis of the budget. What does the national budget mean to you? Because some of us don't even remember what that is since we left high school. And because we were supposed to be hosting an entrepreneur who is based in the United States of America, who will share with us his journey in entrepreneurship. And we are just benchmarking whether the struggles there are the same struggles here. But we may have to move that, because based on the issues that we have. So we will confirm whether we are doing the businessman or we are actually unpacking the budget as soon as it's read on the 7th, which is Thursday, yeah. David, the link for the training, I don't know whether you refer to YouTube or the labor one. The labor one has just been shared up there, the link to register for the labor laws. But for the YouTube, our YouTube channel is called Get It Right with Atara Solutions. So allow me to appreciate our partners, and thank you so much, Balcon Housing, for working with us through season 1, and I mean, not season 1, but they have been with us since season 2 started, and they're still with us in season 3 because they are believing in our purpose for this. I am loving this one. Yes, they are with us on purpose. So Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for believing in our dream and working with us this journey. And we don't do this to make profit, so we're just making sure that we are meeting cost. Have you seen the cost of Zoom? I don't know whether any of you has tried to register for Zoom. It's quite expensive. And then we have AIMS Business College and College of Business and Technology, AIMS College of Business and Technology. Thank you so much for your partnership. We have Career Management Center. We appreciate you, Jane Mutisia. We have Pathway Solution Services. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank, for offering our people. By the way, 5 people won 5 courses on this for free. They're actually already taking the courses as we speak. So thank you very much, Pathway. Thank you, Wendy Restaurant, for your partnership. I hope my people have been coming to eat at your restaurant because you believed in our dream, and we would want to support you. And always, we clean it. Thank you so much for making our carpets clean and for making sure that we are stepping on a fresh Atutaki Mahoma. We don't want the dust that has been happening. So we clean. You can check all these guys out on their Facebook and Instagram pages. They are there. You can find out more information. If there's something you're interested in, my email is grace@atarasolutions.co.ke. Thank you so much, Catherine Sidandi, our sign language interpreter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. For you guys, if you have anything that is requiring you to get in touch with a sign language interpreter, or you just want to be intentional about being inclusive, please, we can support Catherine Sidandi in achieving her purpose as well, in making sure that our organizations are inclusive and our places or our events are also inclusive. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for making it here. We really appreciate you. And our audience, we cannot do this without you. So asanteni sana, and have yourselves a lovely, lovely, lovely evening. We shall see you on Tuesday as we unpack the national budget and what does it mean. Have you seen the fuel costs? And I mean the lack of fuel, for that matter, not even the costs. Yeah, some of those things is what we will be trying to understand. So, asanteni sana, and please follow us on Instagram. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I am your host, Grace Nzula, a HR consultant and trainer at Atara Solutions. And please follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. YouTube channel is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Facebook page is Atara Solutions. And LinkedIn, I am CHRPK Grace Nzula. Thank you so much, and have yourselves a lovely, lovely evening.